So as we start, okay, so we're thinking about what we're doing. We're thinking about, we've picked a few things so as not to overwhelm ourselves. We've kind of oriented our work towards local issues and local manifestations of global or systemic problems. We've thought about are we doing advocacy right now? Or are we mobilizing right now? Or are we organizing right now and trying to change people's minds? So as we're doing this, we can start setting goals. And here, there's a few different ways to think about this. And again, we're taking bits and pieces from things and trying to compile them into something larger. And we're doing it in, we're kind of forging a new path in a lot of ways. So, we've got three different ways, and none of them are right and none of them are wrong. And they all have applications that, we may see them. So the first one is from Miriam Kaba. Questions I regularly ask myself when I'm outraged about injustice, right? So this question comes in, sorry, I live by a train track. This question comes in right when we're starting, right? When something in our local community has us worked up. So we can start asking questions, right? What resources exist so I can better educate myself? If you're not up to date on it, you need to get up to date on it if you're going to take serious action. Who's already doing work around this injustice? Don't reinvent the wheel, right? If you're interested in a specific topic, who's already doing work in town, right? Who can you ally with? You don't have to join their group, right? But your local green chapter can become an ally, can become a coalition partner around this issue. Do I have the capacity to offer concrete support and help? This is a question that I feel like Greens often skip over. And it comes from a good-hearted place where they just feel the need to act, but they don't act. We often don't pause and say, but am I actually offering concrete support that brings a tangible result? Or am I acting for the sake of acting, right? Is this performative? And so that's the next one. And then how can I be constructive? Right. Oftentimes, like I said, we're trying to tear down capitalism, right? We're trying to, overthrow colonialism and imperialism. There is a level of destruction in what we're trying to talk about. And that's not to say, physical violence and all those things that people think about, but we're talking about, dismantling systems. And so we need to also be thinking about how can I be constructive? Because after dismantling, there's always rebuilding. And how do these things connect? What's the next step? Right. If an action has a dead end, it may not necessarily be constructive, and that may be okay. But at least be aware when you're driving down this dead end, when you're organizing towards a dead end, that's what you're doing and have a reason why you're doing it. And then a couple from Lee Staples. It's good to ask, what are you organizing around? Because it'll change who you talk to, when you talk to them, how you talk to them. Right? Are you organizing around turf, which is geographic area? Are you organizing around an issue, an identity, or around a workplace? Right? How you go into each of those different situations is completely different. Thinking about my local community, at any given time, I could, if I wanted to make change, I could make change at the municipal city level. I could make change at the county level. I could make change at the township level. I can make change. And this is just thinking, reforms through the legislative system. But I can make, so city, county, township, state, and then federal, right? And then I guess we could say international. But again, we want to keep our scope and our expectations reasonable, right? But so think about how you're, organizing. What if I want to change something? Can it be changed by the city, or does this have to be a state or a federal change, right? The legalization of marijuana is a perfect example of that. We see state level action, but there's still problems because of federal level inaction. And then also from Lee Staples, this is a really good, sentence to go through when you're thinking about an action. Who wants what from whom, and how can it be accomplished, right? So who is your membership, structure, leadership, and staff? Who are we that want something? Your community members. What the goals and objectives? What are you trying to gain? Whom is the persons or institutions you are acting against? So, I want to see this law changed. Who can actually change it? You got to answer that question. I have seen places advocate for things only to find out they don't have control over their, organizations advocate for things only to find out the body that they're challenging doesn't actually have the power to do it. They need to be challenging someone else, and they didn't think it through. So they're, now it's really hard to recover from that because you've made yourself look pretty bad and pretty unknowledgeable. And then how, right? Strategy, tactics, finances, allies, communications. How do we actually achieve it, right? So what do we want, and who can give it to us, and through what method can we get it? Sometimes that's lobbying and for a law. Sometimes that's creating a PR situation that's really bad. Right? Governments hate nothing more than, or not even governments, corporations, people in power hate nothing more than a bad PR situation that they could that they can't mitigate, because then it's not about what they want, it's about how things are being spun. An example I often give is I was a community organizer and we were doing a community cleanup. And the park district in my town was awesome. They provided a trailer with all the materials we would need to clean up this neighborhood. But when we called public works to ask where to put all the trash that we cleared from the alleys, which again, they should be, that's their job to keep clean, right? We're doing public works job by maintaining our communities, and they are failing in that realm. They wouldn't help us out. And so we called and we called and we called and we called, and they wouldn't ever answer us. And so finally, a few days, the Thursday before our Saturday event, I called again one last time, and the director of public works wouldn't answer the phone, and so I wouldn't take the call. So I told the secretary, can you please leave them the message that we're still waiting to know where we need to put the trash. If they don't get back to us about where to put it, we will see them on Tuesday. We'll be holding a press conference in front of City Hall before the city council meeting on Tuesday night, and we will have all of the trash dumped in front of City Hall. And our press conference will be about the failure of the city to maintain the neighborhoods in the area of the community we were working. I've never gotten a call back so fast in my life with the location. And you better believe they picked that trash up before Tuesday, right? We solved that problem by creating a PR problem for one person, the one person who was blocking us, and the one person who could actually change it just by the stroke of a pen and saying, just dump them on the city-owned lot in the neighborhood, right? So we figured out who we needed to pressure to get that change. And yeah, we could have went through city council and all that, but we got the change a lot faster by acting the way we did, by creating a PR problem. So who wants what from whom, and how can it be accomplished?